Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I deliver my speech, I'm going to say thank you to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and the second for our lecturer, Mr. Dr. Tambunan MS, and for you too, all of my beloved friends. My name is Dedi Akbar Nasir as the first speaker, and my second speaker is Mrs. Zuhrah Aeniyah, and our title of the presentation is Poetic Translation. Yes, before I continue about the poetic translation, I'm going to give you the explanation about translation. Translation, according to Larson, the translation is transferring the meaning of the source language into the receptor language. Only from Chang. And for the next expert said that translation from Roger Thomas Bell that the replacement of the representation of a text in one language by representation of an equivalent meaningful text in a second language. And based on the definition above from the expert that translation is a process of transferring or translating, which converting one language, and we call it source language, and to another language, or we call it target language. And then poetic translation itself, that from Waluyo in 2002, page 25. Poetry is a form of literary work that expresses the thoughts and feelings of a poet imaginatively, and it's composed by concentrating all the power of language by concentrating the physical structure and inner structure. From the above explanation from the Waluyo, it can be judged that understanding is a literary work, but that describe thoughts, feelings, and events which are formed imaginatively, emotionally, and structured with a unique style and rhythm. That's my presentation about the definition of translation. And for discussion of this presentation will be explained by my friends, that is Mrs. Zuhrah Aeniyah. And the time's yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the chance to me. I will continue the materials about poetic translation from the first speaker, Dedi. Well, aesthetic poetic translation. This refers to translation in which the translator takes into account the effect, emotion, and feeling of an original innate version. The aesthetic form used by the original author, as well as any information in the message. The examples of this type are the translation of sonnet, rhyme, heroic couplet, dramatic dialogue, and novel. Recommendation in translation. 18 Dollars advise the translator to link and arrange words with such sweetness that the soul is satisfied and the ears are pleased. Accordingly, translators often try to recast the original in terms of the poetic or of their own culture, simply to make it pleasing to the new audience, and in doing so to ensure that the translation will actually be read. There are 4 ways in translation. First, the translator must understand to perfection the meaning and the subject matter of the author he translates. If he understands this, he will never be obscure in his translation, and if the author he translates is in no way obscene, he will be able to make him easily and perfectly intelligible. The second point required in translation is that the translator should know the language of the author he translates to perfection, and that he should have achieved the same excellence in the language he wants to translate into. In that way, he will neither violate nor denigrate the splendor of one language or the other. You must understand that every language has its own characteristics, and therefore its diction, its patterns of speech, its subtitles, and its power must be translated accordingly. The third point is that when you translate, you should not enter into slavery to the point of rendering word for word. Whoever translates in this way does so because his mind is poor and deficient. If he possesses the qualities mentioned above, and a good translator must possess them, he will work with sentence and not care about the order of the words. And he will see to it that the author's intention is expressed while miraculously preserving the characteristic of both languages. The fourth rule I want to overhear must be observed with greater diligence in languages that have not yet become established in the field of art than in others. I would call the following languages not yet established in the field of art: French, Italian, Spanish, German, English, and other vulgar tongues. If you translate a Latin book into one of these languages, even into French, you should not absorb words which are too close to Latin or have been little used in the past. Okay, I think that's all our presentation. Thank you so much for the attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.